On this episode of the Black Boss Ladies platform,
I don't receive or accept the word no. I specialize in building yeses. Chris Belt and LaToya Greenwood did what they said they were going to do. They marched in the streets with me and my husband when sometimes we would be the only ones in a caravan in a motorcade blowing our horn, saying, hey, it's been 152. It's been 156
I'm getting
years of Juneteenth, of us being freed, of the last larger cluster of African Americans being freed. So what I said was, these are people that if I talk to, they become my neighbor. If we begin to work together, we become allies. What?
Right.
And then those numbers become advocates that's woke, and we're gonna tell the politicians what we need and inform the ballot so that the changes that we wanna see, they'll actually be seen.
welcome to the Black Boss Ladies platform, the place where legacies live.
Welcome to the Black Boss Ladies platform. I'm Julia Myers.
And I'm Tiffany Lee. And today we have Stephanie Taylor. Now, if you're from East St. Louis, it used to be, if you were from East St. Louis, you would say, oh yeah, I know Stephanie Taylor. Then it grew to Madison and Brooklyn. And now, if you're from the state of Illinois, you can say, I know Stephanie Taylor.
Oh,
so thank you for coming on, Stephanie Taylor. She is the Executive Director of Community Development Sustainable Solutions. She is also the chairman of the Illinois Juneteenth Committee.
Yes.
And also the vice chairman of the Illinois Reparations Committee, which has another fancy name, which she will give us to in full. So she has many jobs, and we are delighted to have her on today. So welcome, Ms. Stephanie Taylor.
Thank you. I tip my hat to you ladies, and it is indeed an honor to be here.
Awesome. So as Tiffany stated, your resume is very, very amazing. Like, I don't even know if I have another word for amazing. You wear many hats, including the beautiful one you have on today. Can you tell the people, for you, how do you define success?
Succeeding in innovation.
Innovation. Oh, that's the second time.
I'm very tenacious. I don't receive or accept the word no. I specialize in building yeses.
Okay.
So that's heavy.
It
Because even
is.
in sales, it's like you got to get so many no's before you can get to the yes. But you say you succeed in building yeses. Give us kind of like how did you become that person to be able to do that?
My father, he was from the Air Force Academy in a year when a lot of black men were not at the Air Force Academy.
Okay.
So he was already built for it tough.
Okay.
My question growing up to him as I was taking a look around was, why is this like this? Why am I seeing these situations? Why do we live in Panama and the Panamanians are pushed off of the prized land? Why are Panamanians breaking into our home? What's going on? So I learned what disparity was. I learned what systems were early. I understand what strategic movement is, and that's how I execute.
Wow. At what age was this? Because that's kind of heavy.
At age 5, our house was broken into when I was in Panama. And it was my brother who moved swift enough. And he's, by the way, in the military today.
Okay.
Because we understand that there are systems.
Yeah.
Systems is what we all should focus on combating. Because we're dealing with outdated systems, y'all.
That's so true.
So that means innovation is necessary, right?
Mm-hmm.
So to move any other way is uncivilized.
I feel like there's so much to eat from that, what you just said, right? Because your father is already in the Air Force, which is a system at that time designed for him not to be there. Okay, you're living in the country, Panama, and you're already at 5 asking questions. Why is this happening? So in a way, you already get a heads up into being exposed to systems and issues like that. But that's not everybody's upbringing, right? So it's kind of hard for people to say, I got to pay attention to the system when they can't put food on the table. So
I think. Well, let me say, I think that all of us come up against these systems, right? Mm-hmm. Even when we're very young. The problem is we don't recognize that.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, she gets an advantage because she we lived in the system, but at 5, she's already asking why.
Right? Why is this?
And that's the big part. I feel like people they're not able to combat because they don't even know they in one.
Mm-hmm. Let me take it a step further. Try moving to the United States and going to school. And the white kids are conditioned not to accept you. Mm-hmm. The black people think you don't talk like them and you're not moving like them. Okay. I came to school in wooden shoes. I don't know too many people who have.
Is this from
right?
How long were you in Panama? This is from Panama.
Are you Panamanian then, or you just lived there because your father was in the military?
I was born in Colorado Springs, Colorado.
Okay.
So again, that's where my father was in the Air Force Academy.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So I went to preschool and kindergarten was in Panama. Mm-hmm. So there was siestas. You know, I had translators in a classroom.
For you?
So the same as you see a foreigner come here and they need a translator. Right. I had a translator. So I was the one who had to understand what El Patio de mi casa, that's the patio of my house. Mm. You know, it's particular. That's where I like to be. You know, I don't know. I didn't hear jingle bells. I heard Feliz Navidad. Mm-hmm. You know, so when I came here, it was different. I got to see what snow was. I had to figure out how to fit in. And even today, depending on where I go, they're asking me, where am I from? Mm-hmm. You know, and maybe I am a bit eclectic, but being in the military, not around a cousin or an aunt, mm-hmm. Never really having a true bestie, mm-hmm. But always having to stand on your own mm-hmm. and being able to observe there's different systems here at play, mm-hmm. you know?
Because it was part of your survival. You had to survive, mm-hmm. right? So you're in Panama and you're seeing this and you guys experienced the break into your home from the people that are there. Mm-hmm. How long do you guys stay there?
We stayed there until, as I said, I had to go to first grade.
Okay.
And then we came here to Scott Air Force Base.
Gotcha.
And I was at Scott Air Force Base. Awesome. And again, I had to go to Mascoutah. Mm. So, you know, the ratio.
At that time, that's a whole other system, right?
That's what I'm saying. Yes. So I wasn't white, but I'm the only black person in class, and I'm going straight up. Now, where are the black people on the map?
Right.
That's right down the hill.
This is right.
I just want to know.
There's not a lot of people here.
Right.
So if you don't know this area, so Mascoutah, Illinois, right? It was pretty much for black people living in East St. Louis. Going to Mascoutah was like going out of town. Okay. Now
I'm taking the rest of the country.
People have moved and migrated further east. But even at that time, you didn't have even a lot. It was mainly military people that were up there. Yeah. So now, because more black people have moved on up the hill to Fairview and O'Fallon, they continue to move further east. And now a lot of people live in Mascoutah as well. So yeah, you were up there at a different time.
Different time.
And that's when my mom chose to get a divorce. So when you talk about the cost of bread or eggs or what do people do when they don't have something to eat, hey, and I know what that was about.
What that's about too. Yes.
I know what did we have? Jelly and crackers on white bread. That was a sandwich. You know, a mayonnaise and mustard. That was a sandwich.
Whatever you could put in between that bread, right?
Wow.
Might have been a little tingly back here, but we ate it too.
Right.
You know, we ate it too. Yeah.
So when your mother got a divorce, did you move into?
We moved into the belly of Mascoutah.
Okay.
Into the very first suburb, to where you need to be home before it's dark because there's already a status quo here. To where when I was graduating and there was a thing called co-op then, you know, vocational, they had that in school. So all of the black kids was going like to Pizza Hut, to McDonald's. White kids was going to Barnes Hospital, to Scott Air Force Base, you know. Stuff like that, you know, so my dad had to go in there. So again, my dad has taught me, if you don't speak up, hey, who else is going to do it?
Right. Yeah, because I think sometimes people are just waiting for somebody else to speak up. Like, if somebody else says, oh, nobody's going to, I guess it got to be me.
Hello, right. Don't do me.
Yeah. So I would say those are some very heavy lessons to learn before 18. From Panama to living in Mascoutah. Very different systems, but as you say, as a whole, there's a system that's happening, right? So what happens after you graduate from Mascoutah? Where do you go?
I traveled to New Mexico.
At 18? No fear at all. That's kind of what the military give you, though, right?
So in New Mexico, though, what is there?
I just wanted to go and explore. You know, you know, there are different bases there. There's mountains there.
Did you join the military, or this is?
I was going to be an air traffic controller because I was interested in what we could do. My father would always bring me pictures of military planes, top secret things that you just wouldn't believe that was capable of having. And I was very curious, and again, my question was always why. So my question was about the system and how to address the system, or I was going to get involved on the other level and infiltrate to see what was really going on. You know, I wanted to know either way. But when just before I signed the papers, I did the test and everything. And just before I signed the paper, my father told me, now you do understand that this contract means that there is no calling off, there is no I quit, there is no no, I don't like that.
Yeah. Military is different.
And so I sat down and I thought about that, and I said, no, that I don't want to sign that one at this age.
Yep.
So at that point, I went ahead and went to school for human services, and I understood how to deal with the system. The math started math, and from
Gotcha. Okay. So you're in school. You're going to school in New Mexico, right?
No, I went to school back here.
Okay.
And I did. I went to SWIC. I went to BAC.
Yep.
All the way until when it became SWIC.
Okay.
And then I started
in Illinois College.
And then I was also going online because I liked to draw, and again, my hobby was checking out what's in the universe, what do we really know, and how does that really relate to things happening today.
That's interesting.
It is. I love her, Stephanie. I love that you're always looking at systems, because even I don't know why this picture just came in my mind, but it helped me out. The peanut, the guy that invented the peanut?
No, you're talking
Charles
George Washington
Schwartz.
Carver.
I thought
Black guy. He didn't invent it. He just created so many inventions from
the peanut.
Yeah.
But I'm seeing this picture, and like when I study him, just a little, not a lot, but it was something about like systems and being able to see more than what is there, right? And
I've always been able to see
more than
I've
what
always,
is there,
yes.
which is a gift.
Yeah, I think so, and I would venture to say, I don't know for sure, but I would venture to say that it was kind of a part of your upbringing when you started out in Panama, because you were already in like multiple lanes. Just being there, you had to be able to see things from so many different perspectives just to be able to flourish there.
And be a student. Like, you got to have a translator. There's so many undertone things happening in communication besides just like the language, you know?
Right.
So the fact that you had to have like that opens your mind at a very, very early age. So you're back in kind of like your roots in a sense, back in Southern Illinois, and you're going to school. Did you already know what you wanted to go to school for, or did you kind of like explore?
Well, again, education is born of a system that says people need to know what the status quo is. And the system bucks when you go below what's expected. And it puts a scope on you when you go above what's expected.
I feel like sometimes you get lost when you go above what's expected. Like sometimes you get people that recognize that you are one of those people that can excel at a higher level, and then when you get someone in the system that recognizes that, then they can really help you excel. Sometimes I feel like
they become a spook that sits by the door.
What do you mean?
They can actually be a cog in the system.
Well, I was gonna say sometimes
sometimes you have also
so those
right
people,
where
you
you're
go
stuck
above and you start seeing like, man, this is all a joke.
Exactly.
Not a joke, but it becomes like
and then you become the problem allegedly,
exactly.
And then you become almost just like the kid that was getting lower grades because now you don't care, right? You're no longer working within that system because you see it for what it is, and so then you are seen as the problem.
I think I never shy away from the fact that undergrad was very hard for me, getting through college, and it didn't change until I was like, man, this is a game, and then I was like, oh, then I just need to learn how to play this game, and the good thing about it is I learned that after my first year, and I was still able to graduate in 4 years. But I just think about that, like I was suffering, and then I was like, oh, this is a game, and I have to learn it. And I guess that's what that will be. This is a system, and you got to figure out how to work the system.
I learned to articulate that it was a system in college. Human services teaches you that because you have to be able to fix people. You have to understand that there are various levels to becoming self-actualized. You have to learn to tell the truth, especially to yourself.
You're right about that. That's one of the hardest problems in the world.
Especially to yourself.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't.
I think because of it, I think it's because it's been not an expectation, right? And it's
because we have a status quo.
That's what I was about to say. Because it's like you have to be this. So if I'm not that, I can't tell the world that I'm not that because now I don't fall on there. But if we as a people start saying, "Hey, you don't have to be this. You can be who you are and still win," then more people would have a hard time telling themselves the truth.
So again, my father, our family, we understand that our grandmother was an Indian. We understand the Trail of Tears and all of that. We understand what happened in Mississippi. We know that my father's real father was challenged about pumping gas or something. But anyway, he ended up going upside that man's head. And he had to get out of town right away. So my dad didn't grow up with that guy. My father, again, to make it through the Air Force Academy and to retire at the top as Chief Master Sergeant Bush. So no matter where he goes, they clicking heels and all of that. And I'm very proud of that man. But he understood what's expected. And he taught us in school that a C is what's expected. And what's going to happen if you get an A, and what's going to happen if you get an F. So I've always had to tackle life on that reality. I always have to be 100% transparent in everything.
So let's move forward then. I noticed that you were a precinct committeeman in East St. Louis, right? And
Precinct 2, baby.
Which covers what area?
That was the second largest precinct in East St. Louis.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
I loved it.
What side of town?
Yeah.
That went from 11th Street all the way to 26th Street.
Okay.
And that covered all the way to Kansas Avenue, which is the other side of Missouri Avenue. All the way over to where Fast Eddie's and what's the other lady's restaurant that's over there?
Big Mom.
Big Mom. All of that, yeah.
Okay.
So it was a very large, very diverse area.
So you started breaking down systems when you were there, right? What were some of the things that you implemented?
The Democratic Party called my husband, Terrence Taylor, who's the head of my life and the covering of my house. I wouldn't have so much swag if my husband wasn't stronger than me. Do not get it twisted. He said to me the other day, I just got to digress, so remember that question. He said to me the other day, and I was shocked. He said, people probably going, man, I feel sorry for you because you got to deal with her. And I said, what? What they need to be saying is, whoa, what kind of man does she have? He's got to be something else to be dealing with a woman like you. And he is. He's all of that. He's all of that, yes. So now what was the question?
Look, Right, after old Terry. So the question was, how did you start to break down those systems as a precinct committee woman?
Oh, okay. Well, that was easy because the way that it works, you automatically assume that the general population is stupid. And you know that there's a certain number that you need to get.
Stephanie, you about to... Stephanie, she about to just, you spilling all the beans over there. Go ahead.
And there's a certain number that you need to get to the poll. So what I said was, these are people that if I talk to, they become my neighbor. If we begin to work together, we become allies. What?
Right.
And then those numbers become advocates that's woke, and we're going to tell the politicians what we need and inform the ballot so that the changes that we want to see, they'll actually be seen.
So she's the buck person that we talked about, that when they learn the system, they either go and they go. So she's bucking now. That's what because let's backtrack when you said that most times they treat masses like sheep, like as if they are dumb, right? That's how they see the mass of people. And you just figure that out. And then you're like, I'm going to go the other way, though, because now I'm going to gather these people and I'm going to create strength. And then we're going to tell them, because we're not stupid.
Oh, Lord.
So what? So you're doing, this is the work now you're doing. What comes of that?
Change.
Tell us about that.
We have a holiday for Illinois, and recognition and advocacy for change as it related to Juneteenth, and bringing back some of the outdated policies that have been filibustered. We have shows like the one I'm on right now, Toot Toot, Beep Beep. We have the African Descent Citizens Reparations Commission, and we want to give kudos to people like LaToya Greenwood of the 114th District, and Senator Christopher Belt of the 57th District, Kimberly Lightford, LaShawn Ford. These leaders are powerful and kept Juneteenth in the mouth. Chris Belt and LaToya Greenwood did what they said they were going to do. They marched in the streets with me and my husband when sometimes we would be the only ones in a caravan in a motorcade blowing our horn, saying, hey, it's been 152. It's been 156
I'm getting
years
as you speak.
Of Juneteenth, of us being freed, of the last larger cluster of African Americans being freed, and come back to the awareness. So now even this year at the flag raising, we'll come to the memory of, again, when we formulated this state, when we came up with the Pledge of Allegiance, we were not citizens. We do not have a star represented on this here flag. Colin Kaepernick was proper to drop to one knee. And enough people need to keep saying that. Quit playing.
Yeah. So, and what Stephanie is talking about, she was actually instrumental in helping the Juneteenth become a holiday in Illinois. She was actually there when Governor Pritzker signed Illinois the Juneteenth holiday, and this was before it actually became a national holiday. So she's been moving these things forward in the state of Illinois, so beyond just the city of East St. Louis, but in the state of Illinois.
Would you categorize, like, because I'm hearing you say, me and my husband, we were riding down the street, blowing the horn, screaming out the number. Would that be like grassroots operation to get this to move forward?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Because the one thing I remember about Mahalia Jackson, she said you cannot sing and be pretty at the same time. I do not believe that you can call yourself a nonprofit or a grassroots person and you don't find your time to be out in the street, riding in the street, knowing what's going on and who did to what to who, so that you understand the temperature, so that your solutions are sustainable solutions and that are functional and timely for those who really need it.
So let's go a little bit deeper. In marketing and in sales, one of the things they teach us is to serve your client at the highest capacity as you can. But in order to do that, you have to intimately know the problems of your ideal target market. So you're doing this type of work. How are you actually getting in? Like, because I want to highlight like what it takes to be a grassroots organization, what it takes to get out there and take me down that journey of actually being in the community, listening to your target market.
Ooh, every day. I keep an open door policy. When I thought about forming a nonprofit organization, I thought about Google. I did a paper on Google in school. Google's office is beautiful. It's amazing. You've seen, okay, you're right.
I have.
And if somebody that works with you doesn't want to be at their desk, you could go sit in a lounge chair somewhere. If you want to have a meeting, you and your coworker could be in this little coffee nook that looks like two hands listening to music, but actually meeting. So I strive even more and more to keep that open policy, because you don't work for me, you work with me. You're an extension of my heart and my mind and what I'm trying to do. So if you don't buy into the mission, into the vision, into the quick turnaround of innovation, I don't need you. But I've never had to fire anybody. Never had to fire anybody.
Would you say because you hire well, or?
Well, the leaders in my organization like to joke and say I'm like Oprah, because I'm like, you get a car, you get a car, you get a car. But I believe in organizational commitment. And again, I learned that on my human services journey. You need to understand how people work. They need to know that they are fulfilling a need. They need to understand that you see them and you appreciate them. And yes, we do get a paycheck, and oh my God, what a blessing. But you didn't have to stay that extra hour. You didn't have to come in that time early. You didn't have to call and check on me or answer my call over the weekend saying, hey, I just got a call from so-and-so. This is what we getting ready to do come Monday morning. Thanks for getting the call anyway. Holla at you. You know? But because that's the way that we actually do get along. We are a family. My logo started out as a huddle of people. And then in the 10th year, I changed it over to a roaring lion that's roaming, because no longer are we asking. Now we tread boldly forward towards those solutions that we demand to see.
So can you explain to us some of the programs? I know some of the programs you have, but I want you to give us a little background of some of the programs that you and your team are implementing in the community.
Well, we were blessed to become part of a statewide initiative that allows us to implement a parent mentor program.
Mm-hmm.
So I thank the Lord for that. And that's the Lord of Abraham and Moses, because some people get confused.
Mm-hmm.
Who you talking about? Again, that is another show. That's another show.
3 spin-offs with Stephanie Taylor.
Yeah. Right.
Yes.
That program showed me, who came from a broken home, who always asked why, and whose father always asked me, well, what are you going to do? Anytime I asked him about a system, he grew me up asking me, well, what are you going to do about it? Mm-hmm. So my answer's been, okay.
I'm going to do
okay.
Explain to us, why is this program important for the community?
It's important because it's me. It's them. It's, hey, I'm conditioned to think that living in public housing and getting a baby means now I don't live at my mom's house taking care of my brother and sister. I done finally made it and lived 2-3 doors down.
my own children. So
you know what I'm saying? It's get up.
Yes.
Get out of that mode and understand that there is more, and you can become and you can break through that barrier that says you're not allowed to be part of society. Yep. They treat us as minorities. Mm-hmm. Minorities is somebody that is not accountable for anything. That's somebody under 18. We're not a minority. Mm-hmm. We're not.
That's interesting to think about it that way. So this program, what it does is, instead of the parent sitting at home, basically you're bringing that parent out of the household. You're training them to be able to go into the school districts and now work. Mm-hmm, so we can move past public housing, like you said. We can move past the system of receiving TANF funds and so forth, and also get you involved with your child's education.
And changing the mindset of a system or a school that's conditioned to keep the doors locked because they see you coming. First and foremost of all, hello, I got to talk to you. They already got the doors locked.
Right. Because you the problem.
We don't want that.
Right.
Right. Yeah. So changing the dynamics of how you interface and allowing the school to see that there's a viable resource in your community that's functional and aware of what's going on in your community, and also holding the kids accountable. Not somebody coming in from outside of your community, standing in the hallway going, oh, these kids get on my nerves. What are we going to do? The state is not doing enough. Let them kids do what they want. No, these are people that's vested in their community.
Right, they're there.
And that's always important. And I think that's one of the things that I have really thought about in regards to our kids that are in school, because it's somehow the more education the teachers get, now they're getting PhDs and everything, somehow our kids are less educated. And how is that possible? Because there's no connection.
There's no connection.
There's no connection.
And it's usually in my small time of working in education, some of the most powerful teachers and mentors and people that were able to get through to students often shared the same backgrounds. So they will be like, I've been in the same shoes, and I want to show these people that they have other options. Right. And sometimes when that gap is so big, then the student and the teacher, they don't understand it too well.
So let's have another moment of transparency in history. School and education was put there to acculturate the migrants that were moving to the United States. So it was to train the children so the children could go back and train the parent. So now, what are we looking at in 2024? Parents with their pants sagging, trying to imitate their kid and tell their kid what the heck to do, and the kid's looking at them like, why is you biting me so hard? And I'm supposed to listen to you too.
Oh, wow. So
It don't make no sense.
They have an advantage.
It don't make no sense.
So how have your program been received from the public and in those environments?
I think that it's been received very well.
Okay.
It's kind of like why I deal with reparations and all cultures, because I believe in acceptance, commitment. You accept what's going on and you commit to change. How many times we got to meet to what we need to do? Need about what should happen.
You know, a lot of nonprofits love their meetings.
Out of our community.
I hate a meeting, and I guess I hate
don't
a meeting
like that.
It's because I'm a doer.
Hello.
You know, like I don't want to
So
sit here keep talking about the doing. Like,
I have told people, listen, you need me to do something, I'll do it, but I don't do meetings. You're not gonna waste 10 hours of my time for something that's gonna take me to the complete. I just don't have that kind
and
of
you know
time.
what? That's what I realized, because they used to, when I worked in nonprofit, they used to always put jokes like Julia hate meetings. Because I like y'all get here and talk about the same stuff, but y'all leave and do absolutely nothing different. So like, if we're
and where
gonna
does
meet,
the money go that should be really servicing the people? It's going right there to that administration to have sandwiches at the meeting. We need to set up. Oh my gosh, we're gonna need $50,000 because we've got to set up a shared workspace. What is that? A Google workspace? A Google Drive? Quit playing with me and give the money to where the money's supposed to go.
Yeah, and if we're gonna have a meeting, it's gonna be a working meeting. Like we're actually doing the work. But I don't need to talk to you guys because I can be doing something.
But see, that's just one program that Community Development Sustainable Solutions does. You also do the program where you help people to get jobs beyond that, right? What does that look like?
Yes, again, we observe where the bottlenecks are. Where are the bottlenecks to us having that equal right to thriving, our God-given right to thriving on the earth? So the parents, if they want to go into the school and they get their feet wet and they determine that they want to go further and have more in-depth relationship with them children and an educational experience, we have a nationally accredited apprenticeship program that trains them to be paraprofessionals at this point. We also have work readiness in the office where we offer various trainings to them that empower them, help them out with their resume, do some of the usual things. It's just our tactics are not what everyone else's is. We don't assume that you're stupid. We understand why you're hard to serve. You know, you've had to operate on the outskirts of society. And our little boys and our girls, you know, my husband and I were talking about that even on the way here. You know, systems are in place to tag and bag us immediately. By the time you're 16, they racing you down if you're in the wrong community, just so they can get a good picture of you right quick. Okay, we've got them locked into the system. Move on. You know, just so they can begin to put you on that track of criminalizing you, which again, I'm happy that the state of Illinois is working on reparations. But I do want to say again...
In what ways? Let's not skip past that, because that's one of the things you do. How is Illinois working on reparations for communities?
Well, we are uncovering the history in Illinois, as well as the country.
Because I feel like there is a state in that just California was it? Okay. So is that something Illinois is the governor and is looking to do? And what would that look like for?
Well, we hope that it looks like something greater. I would assume with the heads that are at the table, it would look greater. I know as the vice chair, my job is to make sure that I don't come to make friends. I come to shake it up enough for change and for those, again, that are underserviced in Southern Illinois.
What's the ask? What's when I guess that's what I'm trying to get to. What are we asking? Are we asking for, you know, I say, where my
it's going to be probably
40 acres and a mule? Like, what are we asking? What are we asking?
And I think that's what we're translating now. It's no longer 40 acres and a mule. Mm-hmm. Now we're looking at what would be the monetary value. How do we achieve parity? How do we put systems in place that assure something like this doesn't happen in the future?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so to that point, what they have been doing, so Stephanie was appointed by Governor Pritzker to this commission, and what they have been doing is holding community meetings. They had one at East St. Louis, talking about the history and also talking to the community about exactly how would they like to have, you know, the things implemented. What would that look like? So you've had several community forums, right?
Absolutely. We're gearing up to have one in Springfield, and they want to use the example of East St. Louis kind of to help shape what that may look like. So that's a testament to you and the other panelists that we had there. So I can't thank you enough for what you contributed, you know, to our understanding even of some of the sundown towns.
Because Illinois
has a lot of them. I know. When I went to school at SIU, there were a few, and I just think about, even unfortunately, I don't know what the story was, but even when I was there, like a guy I went to school with was found burned in Murfreesboro in a car, you know, and we've heard the "don't go to Anna," you know, ain't no allowed. So Illinois and Missouri, Pygmyville, you know, we had to drive through there to get the car to Carbondale, and how even. I tell my husband all the time, because we're in Chicago, Illinois now, right? And living in a big city, it comes with its own level of issues, right? But when I'm telling him stories about how we wouldn't go to certain neighborhoods because we didn't want to be harassed by the police at a certain time. And in Chicago, I don't have that fear because you're in the city. Again, it's other things happening, but they didn't live like that, too. Right?
They're huge. They have huge neighborhoods out there, the Chinatowns, you know, where the Italians are, where the blacks are. And you can drive through, because I have to go there for business often. And I see the disparities, and I understand what they're talking about. I look for ways to further engage that conversation. Because, again, the systems that are in place, we really feel it here in Southern Illinois. You know, we really do. So that's something that I will continue to work with.
And I think also that, I mean, that's one thing, it's very important. I think a lot of people always want to relegate reparations to, slavery been over for so-and-so, so-and-so. And it's like, when you go to a place like Pygmyville today, and you realize how they section that city out, where it's like almost like as soon as you hit Pygmyville, and then it's like, the police are there, and it's a certain cut-offs and turns. Your hackles go up today,
and that's, you know, in 2024. When I'm telling my husband he's going to go to my brother's house, and I'm like, okay, so when you're on your way back to East St. Louis, and you're going through these that's why I say these conversations come up, because it's different. You're going to be the only black man on the road, probably, because it's going to be dark, and like I need you to pay attention. Like in the city, you got this problem, and have some gas. In the country, you got this problem, and it looks very different. And I didn't even realize that in a way we had taught ourselves, being young, how to maneuver through racist places such as sundown towns.
Absolutely, that is a reality even today, and that is why we're asking for reparations. But I think instead of us looking at that and finding a way to put a word on it, we need to focus on the root word, which is repair. That's what reparations is. It's repair. You know, don't fight a change that leads to more equity. If you're really about it, then how could you really buck a way that we can live together in unity when, like I was taught on the base, we may be called to fight together one day.
For a whole different reason.
For a whole different
And you
reason.
never know what that looks like. Because your enemy and my enemy, you know, we become, what they say?
The enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Yeah.
But then now we have you my enemy, I'm your enemy, but now that's the enemy. We need to be friends together to fight the one that's over there.
Done that in almost every world war.
Right, you know what I'm saying? So you never know when you might need the person.
So my organization is community development, sustainable solutions, because we want solutions that are for everybody. We want solutions that we can all live with. That's one of our mottos. In quotations, it's not just for certain groups. It's something that should be for everybody. So we have to fight outdated systems. We have to put forth excellence. We're state pillars of excellence because we demand that of anybody that comes to us. We're not going to take any prisoners.
So let me ask you this, Stephanie, and tell me how you found this, because it's kind of been my experience, but I'm always open to other perceptions, because you just said for everybody. I think once you start getting, quote unquote, like up a food chain or something like that, you start seeing that while certain fights are about race, some things have nothing to do with race. It's keeping everybody out of the dark. It's keeping everybody part of the masses. And it's like, wait, this is bigger than just black or white. This is a lot more happening. Have that been your experience?
That is why I am a co-chairman for that statewide Indivisible, Illinois. I was part of National as we were forming and turning the blue wave to make sure we got rid of Ronner and that, you know, Trump, we get Trump out. So it's progressive in saying that there are some issues that are innate to all Americans, some issues that are innate to the citizens of Illinois. I'm a co-lead for the Indivisible Metro East for the past 10 years, whether it be talking about veterans' rights, equal rights, whether it be talking about the school-to-prison pipeline, or what's happening in rural Illinois, and whether or not people like Brooklyn can receive census data because they don't have access to mailboxes. They have to go get their mail. So we have to...
And Brooklyn, if you guys don't know, we actually have a Brooklyn, Illinois around here. I didn't know they don't have mailboxes.
They have to go to the post office. They have post office boxes, which creates a glitch in the system.
Yeah, because what if you don't have a car, or you older and you can't get there? Like, oh wow.
So you have to do things like, you know, fight to say, hey, I want to work on the census. Send me the information so I can set up tables and booths to try to get people to register or show them how they can interface with doing the census if you live in Brooklyn. I remember, so it's things you do.
Complete the census, people. It's about getting funding for your area, okay?
So let me ask you, Stephanie, because you are one of those people that are standing in the space for people that don't have a voice. You're advocating for the best life for them. You had an amazing background that afforded you to be able to see systems and things like that differently than a lot of people. But when you're fighting the good fight for other people, like, how is that? What's going on inside of you? What's keeping you going to be able to keep on standing in those spaces?
It is the Most High God. It is that I ask Him, and my husband asked Him for us as our covering, to allow us to be His vessels and to do His will. We understand that He has the system, and His system has been put in place for the good of the whole. And we're but facilitators. And I know that's what's called charisma, right? Charisma is God's light that shines through us. It is that special umph. And you have to know, that's part of self-actualizing, that God is the one who draws each breath. And as long as you have limbs that move, what are you supposed to do? You're supposed to be moving for the good of the whole and to be the light that shows somebody else what they can. Y'all forget that we have a Senate Majority Leader, Senator Durbin, who's from East St. Louis on, 26th or 27th Street?
I think his name came up in one of our interviews before. Yeah.
And don't nothing move without Durbin, right?
Right.
I say all the time, who are we? The land of Lincoln. We are the land of Lincoln. We change stuff. Things ripple out from the state of Illinois. We went...
And I think it produced the most billionaires, I can't remember.
We went through every township and municipality to get them to sign Juneteenth legislation until Mark Kern signed it for the county. From there, we got on a call and we went to Cook County. And the mayor there raised the largest one ordered from our National Juneteenth Observance Foundation, which is the founder under Doc Myers, who's from where? Chicago, Illinois. You know what I'm saying? So from there, that's when the governor said, come on, meet me up here at the Lincoln Museum. And from there, 2 days later, what did Biden do? Quit playing. And who was standing there with them but our grandmother, who's part of our national movement, Miss Opal Lee. She'll be here also in October for our because we're going to host the national pageant, so y'all get ready.
Oh, really? Okay, yeah, I'm coming. I'm definitely coming. That's another thing that she does.
Yeah, I saw that.
Illinois Juneteenth pageant, Miss Illinois Juneteenth, right? And it's a scholarship program.
Yes, a scholarship.
Yeah. So and you said this. You said before. You said you serve the God of Abraham and Moses. So as you're talking, and the question I asked you. Like, I just keep getting to Moses because Moses stood in the space for the Hebrews, right? So that's kind of like, every time he did something, he went back to God. He went to the people, then he went back to God. He went to the people, he went to the Word of God.
Absolutely.
So you would say the only way to do this work that you're doing is to have a very strong relationship with God.
Absolutely, 100%. He's the one that makes everything happen. And I would tell everyone that he is real, and it's my job to let you know that he's real. And the end of the book says we won.
We won. It didn't say we didn't fight. It ain't say the weapons weren't coming. But he said we win.
Amen.
And that's how you keep showing up to do this work every day, because at the end you win.
It's supernatural work.
It's supernatural work. That is very much supernatural work. So, before the show, we started. I also asked you about that self-care, though. You got to get that self-care going.
I lay at the feet of the Most High. I lay at His feet every night. I envision myself at His throne, at His feet, and that's where I regenerate.
Okay. Well, so for our listeners here, what tips would you give them on their journey to success? 3 or 4 tips.
If they wanted to do this kind of work too.
Accept the challenge and commit to the change. Don't talk about it, don't be about it. Too many people call us Ghanaites. And yes, we are African American kings and queens. But be about your business. Stand on it. If your dreams are not big, don't scare you. They are not big enough.
That's good. All I heard is you gotta have vision. That's what I heard from that. Amazing, amazing. So, Stephanie Taylor, you are a Black Boss Lady.
And your legacy will live on the Black Boss Ladies platform. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Woo!
Love me some Stephanie, baby.
Thank you for joining us on the BBL Platform Podcast, the place where legacies live. We hope you will join us on our next inspirational journey to success. Be sure to rate, like, and subscribe to our show. For more information, please visit our website at theBBLplatform.com.